Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tellers of Tales. I'm Eli Kurtz, and I'm here with my co-host.
Drew Merjeski. Hi, guys. Welcome back.
Hey, good to see everybody. So we've had eventful lives since the last
Oh,
time we played a game. In
very much so.
particular, yeah, I think, Drew, you had already broken your arm by the last time?
Yes, last time I had broken my arm, I had actually just broken my arm the night before.
That's right.
And I was like, it's fine. It's going to be great. It's just slightly broken. I'm sure they'll just put in a cast. It'll be healed up in no time. Since that time, good listeners and people watching, I have had surgery. I have had 4 screws drilled into my bones. And I've had a whole week of recuperation where I can now move my arm marginally better than I could a week ago. So, yeah, it's been a week of recuperation, and I have another week still of recuperation to go. So I've had a lot of time to think about things, and I've actually thought about this game a lot, and how fascinated and fun it's been.
It really has.
It really has been, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying these characters, and I'm enjoying the stories that we're telling. But yes, that has been my life. My life has been a lot of taking medication because of the pain, and doing a lot of things one-handed. I mean, it's really funny. It's really hard to plug your phone in with one hand.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I've got this phone case that's like really difficult to get it's one of those OtterBox ones, and it's like really
Oh yeah.
difficult to get the cover off to get
Oh yeah.
into. I can't even imagine doing that with just one hand.
Oh gosh, I'm at the point where just like gripping something is a little hard.
Ugh.
So like even holding my phone to like put it in place, and I press on it, my whole arm goes like no,
Ugh,
no.
man.
Um, so yeah, it's been interesting, but I'm actually gonna have to do physical therapy for it too. So
Ugh. Wow. Well,
yeah.
we wish you a speedy recovery, of course.
Ah, thank you. It'll be good. It'll be fine. I'm not terribly worried about it.
Good.
Uh, Thankfully.
Good. Good.
It's been a really interesting new experience for me. I've never had surgery, never broken a bone before, so it's been interesting.
I never have either, and at this point, I don't really think I want to. I think
Yeah,
I'm good.
don't do it. Don't do it. Like, I was actually I was in the car with my wife Allie on the way to get my arm cut open and worked on, and she said, "You feeling okay?" And I'm like, "I'm actually kind of excited." And
hmm
she was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I've never done this before, so I have a lot of like anxious, nervous excitement about it." And in my brain of brains, I thought to myself, surgery is worse than something being broken, and
hmm
is not as bad as something being broken. They'll just cut it, they'll sew it back up, and I'll be fine. Little did I have to realize that like you have to move muscles on the inside to like you gotta cut stuff, and that's gotta heal, and then like
Yeah.
it doesn't work as much anymore. And
Did they put you under for this surgery?
they did.
Okay,
They-
that's good.
Um,
I don't know
oh
that I could handle being awake while somebody's just like cutting up my arm.
no, no, the surgery was 3 hours.
Oh, no thanks.
Yeah, it was 3 hours. I will say, for those of you out there that have never had anesthesia and never been in surgery before, it is instantaneous. Like I always thought it was like you go to sleep, and you know how
Yeah.
you go to sleep and you know you've gone to sleep and you can
hmm
feel that time has passed.
hmm
No, I was on a table, breathing in a mask, and then I was waking up,
Yeah.
and it was literally one moment to the next.
That's what it was like when I got my wisdom teeth taken out as a kid. It was like they told me to count back from 10, and then I woke up in a wheelchair in the lobby, and then I woke up at a Sonic on the way home, and then I woke up on my couch, and I was like, this is amazing. I'm
Yeah,
a time traveler.
yeah. I woke up. I came to consciousness very slowly in a bed with nurses around me, like doing things,
hmm
and I was like my brain knew you're in the hospital and you're out of surgery.
hmm
Like my brain told me that immediately, but I went, "How long has it been? And what what happened? And
Yeah.
I groggily remember asking the nurse, what time is it? And they were like, it's 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't get loopy, apparently.
Oh, that's good.
Allie told me, she's like, you didn't get loopy. You were very focused and awake, and you continually went, fascinating, just fascinating.
So you're a Vulcan under anesthesia, I guess.
Oh, anesthesia, apparently, I was also analyzing my emotions and my feelings.
Yeah.
As an actor, and like that's just what I did.
That's fun.
And I was sitting there going like, oh, this is fascinating. This is amazing. Anyway,
that's cool.
Good to know.
Yeah, so we're here playing Tellers of Tales, like I said. This is a setting that we have created and are creating in the moment, and we are using Tricube Tales, a micro RPG written by my friend Richard Woolcock. Of course, I'm part of the Mythic Gazetteer, and Drew is part of Whimsy and Artifice, two different game creative companies of different stripes. I have done some publishing stuff before, and Drew's done a lot of streaming and gaming and actual play stuff. Links to all of our stuff is down in the video description, so be sure to check that stuff out. But so far in our tale, we have done 2 sessions. Each time we picked a different Grimm's tale out of a list of 6. We just rolled randomly to determine what we were going to do. And now we find ourselves in Viklundstein, which is the home country of your character, Drew.
Oh, yes. It is Arnst's homeland.
Yes.
The nation of Viklundstein. It is beautiful country. It's very, very good. We have some forests, not too many. We have some rolling hills. We have many mountains. And we have many, many cities. There are lots of people in Viklundstein. It is a very stable place. Our claim to fame is that we are a magocracy. The magic rules in Viklundstein. Not just that, but also we have a queen. Her name is currently Renette. She is Renette V of Viklundstein. She is descendant from a well-known fairy tale. She is descendant of Cinderella. So Viklundstein is where the famous tale of the glass slipper happened.
Yeah, delightful. And we're going to break from our typical format. Because we're in Viklundstein, we figured that we should find tales that are ideally suited for this sort of courtly decadence that's on display in this place. And so we are actually just going to pick from 2 tales this time. We're going to flip a coin or something to determine what it is. And before we do that, we should introduce our characters a little bit. So we already know a little bit about Viklundstein, where Arnst is from, but remind us, who is Arnst?
Oh, yes, of course. So Arnst of Viklundstein, he's a teller of tales. He is a young man, relatively young. I'd say he's in his late 20s, early 30s. He is a beardy sort, very beardy. He wears spectacles. He has a little bit of a self-insertion going on here, and which is really funny. Like I've decided not to cut my beard at all while I'm for the next couple of months, just because I just want to grow it out. And it was funny because I was finding pictures of Arnst. And I'm like, oh, he's beardy and he wears glasses. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, that's not what I'm going. Okay, but yeah, I understand. But anyway, Arnst is he's got a mustache, a goodly beard. He's got longish hair. He is brown haired. The fashions in Viklundstein are very 1800s. It is late 1700s, early 1800s, so 1790s. We're talking frock coats and ascots and the white wigs and the hosieries and the shoes, and the tricorn hats. What he likes to wear, he has a green frock coat that he wears. He has a tight up he's a very tight man, but he's got a double-breasted vest, high-collared, that comes up to here. It's striped. And he wears breeches, and he has spats, these leather spats that go all the way to his knees over good solid leather boots. He has a saber at his side. He has spectacles that have different lenses that he puts on them all the time. And the other major thing that he has is he has over his frock coat a large leather overcoat. And that coat has many pockets in it, and there are many runes written in the linings of this coat. And he pulls many things from his coat of many pockets. The other thing that he has a large wooden chest, like a large wooden box that he carries, like a satchel, like a bag, that is full of other paraphernalia that he uses. For Arnst, the last thing that he has is on his hands. He has many strange arcane symbols tattooed on his palms and on his wrists and on his fingers. For Arnst is a wizard, but he is merely an amateur wizard. He is the lowest level of wizard in Viklundstein. He does hand magic. He is very tactile. He has to touch things. He has to touch objects. He can conjure the magic from a thing and use it. But that is basically all that he can do. So Arnst is a decent fellow, I think. He is smart. He is crafty. He is not terribly brave, but he knows his way around the tale, and he knows his way around a curse or two. And that is Arnst.
Delightful, yes. And of course, my own character is Gottram of Paveglen.
Ah, Gottram, yes.
Gottram is a fixer. He is a rake and a cunning swordsman. And he has lots of issues that he is slowly coming to grips with. He is gaining awareness of who he is as a person. And you see, he has been known throughout his life to be a competent swordsman, even when he was a boy playing with sticks and playing at pirates and that sort of thing. But now he has gone on to be quite competent with falchion and buckler. And as a teller, this is of variable use, of course. Sometimes there is not a call for violence, and he finds his palms beginning to itch in these moments. But he has tried to find a way to get out of it, and so he is also a fast talker. He can manipulate social situations to his advantage, even if only for a moment. Perhaps he burns a bridge, but he manages to race across it just in time. And in this past adventure, of course, the tale that we told of this strange musician, it amounted to a dancing competition. Quite useful that he was nimble as a cat to be able to get through that situation. But because we learned some things from this past adventure, he also became a fine dancer.
Ah.
And he discovered that his taste for rhythm is actually quite well developed. He appears to be a man who is tall and lean and clean-shaven. Once again, certainly not author insert territory here for me. And he grew up watching sky pirates bandy about back and forth to hear the tales told around the fireplaces and taverns of Paveglen. And he took the wrong lessons from them, to be frank. He came to see women as disposable objects, men as disposable objects as well, all of them only fit for his own plans and manipulations. He also found their fashion taste and gravitated toward the lower ends of it. He's fond of wearing lots of black leather with buckles and straps and that sort of thing. But in his very first adventure, he found quite a nice hat, a large and feathered hat that is bright red with a blue feather sticking up the size of an ostrich feather or even larger. And he has begun to realize that he has a taste for fine dress and putting on airs as a result of the clothing on his body. And so these are the things that we know about Gottram. And of course, he is also levied with a curse. He does not know what fear is, and that gets him into trouble more often than it helps him. But we are here to tell a tale, once again, and we have 2 tales that we might choose from. In order to find out which it is, we need, of course, to flip a coin. Do we have a coin nearby? Should we produce one? Should we?
I should produce a coin, I believe, of some kind. I should also go get dice.
Yes, quite so, quite so.
In a moment, I will get the coin, and I will also get some dice.
You know, I just realized I have a coin of my own. I just need to find it here. Let me see what I can discover.
Oh, well, even for that, I shall get some dice. Hold on.
Very good, very good. Yes. A golden coin, in fact, with images of a scroll on one side and an owl on the other. We will find out which tale is ours by flipping this coin.
Every time I take off my headphones, I gotta readjust everything because I can look one-handed.
I know that pain. Well, not the one-handed pain. Now that I hear you say that.
But it's the readjustment. After I had settled in, everything was fine. Anyway.
We're glad to have you back, though. Of course.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. You ready?
Yeah, I think so. So, my coin has atypical sides. On one side, there's an owl, and on the other side, there's a scroll.
Oh, nice.
So we'll just have to identify which one means which. And our 2 potential tales are The Legend of Melusina and Trusty John. So do we want to say The Legend of Melusina is the scroll and Trusty John is the owl?
I think that's great.
Okay, cool. So here I go. We'll figure out which one it is in just a moment. It's the scroll. So we're going to tell the tale of Melusina.
Excellent.
All right, so this is a tale that I believe you had contributed, and this is your homeland of Viklundstein. So I'll start off the intro, and then I'll pass it off to you for the fine-grained sort of thing.
Excellent.
Cool. So as we open our book and we can see the gorgeous illumination on the page, we see images of a land that is a patchwork, and the words that accompany this image tell us that this is the land of tales. And as we move our faces closer to scrutinize the detail in these images, we actually fall into the pages of the book and we feel wind and cloud rushing past us as we fall toward this patchwork world. And we can see a broad golden field in one patch, and we can see a tangled and many-colored forest in another patch. And in between these, somewhere, perhaps other patches are in between as well, but at one point in between, we see tall stone spires and wide grasslands that have settlements with these tall wooden towers built up in memory or image or mirroring these stone spires. And there are a lot of airships that come in and dock at these towers, and goods are ferried in and out. And then we move on a little more and we enter a new patch, the patch of Viklundstein.
Excellent. And as we move our way across, we head into Viklundstein. And Viklundstein is over the mountain. And as we head over the mountain, we see there are these deep green forests. And we see, in these forests, we see towers, these stone towers and edifices, all throughout the mountain range and all throughout the woods. And as we head down the mountainside, we continue to head into these deep forests. And as we move out of them, we hit into kind of like a valley, and that we realize that Viklundstein is inside of a big valley, and surrounded by mountains. And there are these woods that kind of circle around this valley, and at the center of this valley there is a large city. And so as we see all those smaller places, those smaller towers to the mountains of the woods, we can see that those are smaller settlements, smaller cities, and full of light, full of uh, full of people. But there is this main city at the center of the valley, and that is where the capital of Viklundstein is. And as we get closer to it, we see that it is a fantastic looking place. There are tall spires. There are dancing lights that go back and forth. We see like a monorail tram thing that runs in between from tower to tower and from place to place. We see magic happening in all different places. People are doing different magical things as if they're nothing to them. We see a woman walk by down the streets of the capital city, and we see behind her is floating a basket full of groceries. And we see that there are men sitting at the like an inside of a window, and they're talking back and forth. They have like charts of magical runes, and they're talking. And as they talk, they draw things in the air with magic. And we see that magic pervades Viklundstein all over the place. And as we move through the city back and forth, we see that it is night. It is almost midnight. It is we see a large clock at the centermost tower of the city, and there's a giant clock on it, and it reads ding dong midnight. And at midnight, everyone stops and everyone looks to the clock. And as it chimes 1, 2, 3, 4, everyone steps out. They say their goodbyes, then they make their way out as the day has officially ended in Viklundstein. And we have another hour, and that is when the new day will begin. And in this time, this in-between time, between the old day and the new, maybe it's not an hour, maybe it's like half an hour, maybe it's a period of time that they take out of the day anyway. It's not like a set hour, it's not like a set anything, it's just like this period of time between the 2 days. It's this magic hour where anything can happen in between midnight and between one midnight and another. And as people go about and begin to clear the streets and head home, we see in a back alley Arnst and Gottram and their 3 friends. There was a badger, I think, a fox, and a hare. And they have made their way into the city in this time between midnights. And they are standing in the middle of this alleyway as people go about their business. And we see people, they're dressed in frock coats and white wigs. We see women in large dresses and large wigs, in straw hats and in good finery. As we notice that this is a rich country, as people walk about, and that is where we pick up.
Very cool. So Gottram is in this alleyway, and he's actually had to collar the fox because the fox will not stop going after the hare.
Oh no!
And so the fox is sort of leashed, and the leash is tied to one of the buckles and straps that's on Gottram's doublet. And the fox has taken to just like sleeping around his shoulders because the fox can't do anything else, and it's nighttime, so might as well. And Gottram keeps adjusting his neck because it's itchy, this fur that's all the way up against his neck here. And he's like, he looks over at Arnst and he says, "Arnst, tell me that you have found a place for us to stay for the night. I cannot stand this any longer."
I'm trying, my friend. Like I said, there's many places here in Viklundstein, but we are between midnights. Nothing is open. I tried to get here before midnight, but our friend the badger here. And we turn around and we see the badger, and he's got berry juice like all over his snout, and he's got like an open jar of jam, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I was just sorry." And I'm like, It's all right, my friend. You are hungry. And we see on Arnst's shoulder is Mr. Rabbit, um, newly tailless Mr. Rabbit,
Mm-hmm.
um, as he is sitting on Arnst's shoulder. Are any of the animals dressed, or are they just talking animals?
I think these ones were just talking
Talking.
animals. Yeah.
So he's just sitting there. He's kind of put himself around the backside of uh, of Arnst's shoulders, and he's like, "I'm very sorry, my friend. And if Mr. Badger, I do not mean to blame you, but if we had been here merely 10 minutes before, I could have found us right over there." And he points across the way, and there is a like an inn that has a sign out that says closed for midnight. Um, and it is a give me a color real quick.
Actually, I have a suggestion.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
think the name of this tavern is called the Fountain of Thirst.
Ooh, the Fountain of Thirst. I like it. So there's the Fountain of Thirst and the wooden placard outside. It's not like a swingy placard, like it's like in like a window. It's a beautifully done carved placard of this fountain, and there's like people around it, like with their cups up,
Mm-hmm.
um, trying to get the wine from it. And he's like, I was going to take us. This is one of my favorite places when I was here at school, but it is closed now. But we may go and see. I do know the proprietress. Maybe she will let us in.
I hope so, and if not, perhaps I can work my charms on her. I am not concerned about this.
This is possible. All right. Well, hopefully she has forgotten all about that. And last time I saw her, anyway. And we see them as they cross the street. And again, the streets are mostly empty for this time between midnights. And they go up to the door, and Arnst knocks on the door, and there is a long pause before a door opens, and there's a woman standing there. I'm going to choose an archetype card, and we will find out what she is.
Sounds good.
Ooh, I don't like that one. We're going to go with something else. I like that one. Warrior.
Warrior, okay.
So, since I chose the card, do you want to describe her?
Yeah, so it's not what you would think. This woman, when she answers the door, she's actually small and slight, and she doesn't dress like a warrior, but her carriage belies her true nature. She stands with confidence, even though she's just barely over 5 feet tall. And she doesn't have anything in her hands. She doesn't have a blade girt at her side, but her hands look capable, and her stance is rooted and just very. She gives off a very calm, authoritative presence, despite being so small. And she answers the door and she says, "Hello, may I help you?"
Hello, Urna. I don't not know if you remember me. It's been several years. My name is Arnst. I was a student here at the university. I would stop by all the time.
Arnst, hello.
Hello, Urna.
It has been so long since I have seen you. What
Yes,
brings
you
you
do
to
not
town
have to
today?
Oh, no, not much, Urna. We are merely in town, and I tried to get here before midnight, but we have not made it in time. And I know you are in your between time, and I do not mean to take away from it, but I was hoping you might let us in. We might have the night to rest. If I can pay, I'm more than willing to pay, Una.
So Ulna looks out at the clock tower down the road, because there are a lot of clock towers in this town. Everybody has to know the time. And she sees that it's a few minutes still, 10 or 15, before the end of this half hour. And she says, "Well, I cannot bring you into here to have you conduct business, but if you want to come inside and wait, I cannot prevent you from doing that either. And there are no laws that forbid me. So please, please, come inside. Come inside.
Of course, Ulna. I shall. Ulna, this is my friend. This is Gottram of Pavi Glen.
I am Gottram. It is nice to make your acquaintance, Ulna. You are enchanting, of course.
Oh, no, please. I am fine. I am... Yes, I think I am sometimes. And I appreciate you saying so. And,
I know you are.
And she narrows her eyes at Gottram and goes, yes, of course. Please, come on in.
When she puts her hand out to say, come on in, Gottram sweeps up and grabs her hand and starts to bring it in for a kiss.
Ooh. And as he brings it in for a kiss, she pressure points his hand and twists it. And
oh!
Excuse me, I did not say you could grab my hand.
But it is the way of my country, of course.
Oh, and where are you from?
Pave Glen, you know, it is the sky's border.
Oh, you're from Sky's border, and she twists a bit more.
Oh.
Well, it has not been too long since someone from Sky's border tried to take my hand when I did not want them to. So, Gottram of Pavi Glen, you are allowed in my house, but you are not allowed to touch anything. Do you understand me? Nothing.
Nothing? But what about the floors? Oh.
The floors, you will touch the carpets and not the floors.
Okay. All right. Oh, I give. I will consent to what you say.
And she's like, good. And she lets go.
He turns to Arnst. What a woman.
Yes, Ulna is quite the woman. I'm a little sad she does not remember me, but she is quite the woman.
But she said she remembered you.
Well,
or is the memory deeper than it ought to be?
I was hoping for a deeper memory, but the name...
Arnst, you cad, you rogue.
No, you go inside. Go inside. You will go in.
Yes, of course.
And Arnst looks at Ulna and goes, Ulna, I apologize, but we have a badger, and this is my friend, Mr. Rabbit. They are tooth and nail folk, they speak. I do not remember, are you averse to having such in your home?
She says, well, it is not often that we have these people in here, but I suppose it is fine. There are no laws against it, of course. But I still cannot serve them until after midnight either.
Of course, I understand. We shall come in and we will merely wait until after the midnight. And everybody walks in. The place is, it looks like a 1700s like coffee house. There's a lot of small tables. There's a lot of woodwork. There isn't a bar, but there's a lot of couches and lounges and places for people to sit and talk and drink and enjoy themselves and rest. And the group, our merry little band, walk through. And they go into the main seating room, and there are two large couches and a fireplace. And the fireplace is not lit at the moment because it is between midnights. And we all stand in there. And Ulna goes in and goes, now, if you do not mind, I have... She like reaches in, takes out a pocket watch, clicks it, and goes, I have another 10 minutes to finish up between my midnight and prepare for my day. So
worry not, Ulna. It will take me at least 10 minutes to make a proper accounting of all of these rapiers you have on the wall. Oh,
yes,
such wonderful examples. And he's...
I know how to use all of them.
I have no doubt, my lady. So across there's the wall that the fireplace is on, and I imagine this peaked roof, right?
Yes.
And the wall that the fireplace is on is mostly sparse. It's just the stone chimney. But on the opposite wall, I imagine, in the same sense that Gaston's tavern is just covered in deer antlers, I think this has got like 40 rapiers that are in this crisscross pattern all up the wall.
She looks at it and goes, Yes, I know how to use all of them.
Ah,
They are all the ones that I have taken in duels.
well, it is not work to participate in a friendly bout, is it? Would you care to test your skills against me?
Clicks her pocket watch, looks at you, and goes, "No, I do not believe it will take me the entire 10 minutes."
We will see, my lady. We will see. I will wager you that I can last against you for 10 whole minutes. And if I succeed, you must give me a kiss on the cheek.
Ulna looks at you. She smiles. Ulna's description, as you said, she's a slight, wiry woman, blonde hair, kind of a petite face, blue-eyed, very pretty. But she has fine scars, like on her cheek, in places. Like she has that eyebrow that won't grow in a spot because there's a scar there. And she goes, "Very well. If you would give me a moment." And she claps her hands, and all the tables move to the side. Like they all kind of get up and they kind of
Of their own will. Very cool. Yeah, I love it.
She looks over and she takes her hand and she twists it. And as she twists her hand, there's a rapier that comes off the wall and into her hand.
Ah, very clever. Can you move them all at your will, I wonder?
All of the swords or all of the tables?
Well, all of the swords, of course.
Well, we will just say that this is an easy bout for me. Just the one sword against the one.
Yes, of course, yes.
So shall we? And she goes over. She as the tables move away, we notice that there is a dueling ground on the floor, like in paint. Like obviously this happens all the time. The Fountain of Thirst is not just a place to drink and talk; it's a place to duel. And it's like a court. It's like a basketball or like a tennis court, kind of marked out. There's two squares, and there's a lot of lines and a lot of numbers and things. And Arnst goes over to Gottram and goes, "Gottram, are you sure that you are all right with this, Gottram? Una is a very good duelist."
Yes, no, I am quite confident in my skill. I have trained backwards and forwards with the falchion and buckler. I will best her. I am confident.
All right. You are all right. I will work as judge. As he turns around and goes, "It is all right if I work as judge, Ulna." And she goes, of course, Ernst, you may." She takes out. She's got like a coat on, and she kind of takes the coat off, and she's kind of just like in her shirt sleeves. And she takes off the outer layer of her dress and puts it away as well. And she hikes up her skirt, and she's putting on gloves, and she tests the rapier and looks down the length of the blade at it to make sure everything's all right with it, and kind of being in her corner. And goes, "So the rules are you last of 10 minutes, is it, until the next midnight?"
Yes, quite so. 10 minutes until midnight.
All right. And Arnst goes and he actually takes out a watch himself. And he looks at it and goes, "We have about 30 seconds until we need to begin. I will be judge in this." And he knocks 3 times on the floor with his cane. Oh, but his cane broke. That's right. He reaches over and he grabs like a stick from the wall, and he pounds 3 times on it. And we see that gold dust rise 3 times from the court. And he goes, "By my honor and by the rule of judgment, this shall be a fair and honest fight to 10 minutes. Who will see if Gottram can outlast these 10 minutes with our friend Ulna here." All right. Are you ready, Arnst? Sorry, Gottram. Are you ready?
Gottram flourishes his falchion and he assumes a position, like a really solid guard position with his buckler. Yes, of course, I was born for this moment.
Excellent. Excellent. And Ulna, are you ready? Yes, Arnst, of course. And she steps forward and she flourishes, um, and uh, and gets into a very solid attack stance.
Cool.
Um, and the two of them, the camera pulls back to the two of them at that. It's a horizontal shot with the two of them ready to go. And he goes, all right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin. How do you want to do this?
I'm thinking just a roll to see, how it turns out. We could do maybe like a clock or an effort track or whatever, but I mean, this isn't really the meat of the adventure, I don't.
No, it isn't. How about this? Do you want to do 10 rolls?
10 rolls.
One
I
per
could
minute?
do like 3, but 10 feels like a whole lot.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's do 3 rolls. Let's say that it's the first 3 minutes, the next 3 minutes, and the last 3 minutes, and roughly it's a 9-minute, 10-minute, thing.
Yeah.
All
That
right.
sounds good.
Do you want to roll? Are you rolling skills? Because I feel like she is. Oh, what's my face? She is agile as well as you.
Okay, yeah. So, because this game is entirely player facing, I think that would mean that her difficulty is probably a 6 to beat, right?
So I think she's an accomplished duelist.
Yeah. But because this is my archetype, I would roll 3d6 for that.
Absolutely.
And I think in this first foray, I'm just going to go ahead and roll to see how this turns out. So, let me do this here. I got, a 3 is the best that I got.
Ooh.
Let me see what I can do here.
Well, it's a best. We're doing 3 rolls, so it's best of 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I am going to go ahead and just accept the defeat on this one.
Okay, so since it's a defeat, I will describe this first 3 minutes. Ulna moves forward, lightning fast, and immediately puts Gottram on guard. She moves in with a succession of a couple of quick thrusts, couping and moving around his blade to get on the inside line. And Gottram is completely has to parry back and forth, moving backwards across the square. He gets to the edge of the square and does this turn at the last second where he comes around, and goes for an attack, but she deftly parries it and continues on the offensive. And the two of them dance across these 2 squares. There's a couple of times where Gottram gets a couple of quick jabs in or a couple of quick cuts, but every time she's there to bat the sword away and go right back into thrusts and cuts. She's relentless. And there's a couple of moments. There's a beautiful moment about at the end of it where Gottram goes to parry. She goes for a cut. He parries. She glissades into him and moves forward and gets a nick out of, let's say, out of his ear.
Ooh, okay. Just a tiny little
nick out of the ear, and turns around, and she doesn't even comment about it. She doesn't make like a quip. She doesn't make a like a haughty look or like a wink or anything. She does that, turns around, and comes right back at you. And we're going to move into the next 3 minutes.
Yes, a flashing blade. Well done, lady. Well done. All right, so this next one, I think again 3d6, and the difficulty is again going to be 6 for this.
I think so.
Okay, cool. So, let's See if I do any better this time. I got a 6. Yeah, cool.
Ooh, nice,
And
nice.
I think, let me see here. I would like to, if you're open to this, use a perk to... So the way that, if we're using effort tokens on this thing,
Mm-hmm.
every success would clear one of those effort tokens away. And I think in 3 rounds, I would need to get rid of 3 tokens.
Yes.
So if you're open to it, I would like to spend a karma to invoke my perk as a master of falchion and buckler to actually clear 2 effort tokens this round.
I think
so
that's
that I'm
fine.
back on track.
I think what looked like her besting you completely was you learning her tells.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we dance around the room, we do a lot of in and out, back and forth, and then she gets in and nicks me on the ear, but that was just what I needed to figure out exactly what her strategies are like. So as we go around this time, we're still dancing around, we're still sort of almost synchronized in our movements around this circle, and coming in and coming out and being pushed to the edge and coming back to the center.
Mhm.
And the difference this time is that she is trying very hard to get inside my defenses, but every time either my buckler or my sword is right there to just barely turn it away.
Mm.
And you said she's in her shirt sleeves.
She's in her shirt sleeves.
I think at one point she comes up high and I block with my buckler at the same time that I come in toward her torso with my falchion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I slice her shirt off to where it's like a midriff bearing shirt.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I cut a slash off of the front of it there so that it's I can see like her navel or something.
Oh.
Um,
Oh my.
yeah, I know, rakish, right? When I come around, I'm like, I'm so sorry, lady. I trust your honor is not damaged by a little playful fun.
Her eyes narrow. She doesn't say a word. She goes back into a guard and moves forward.
Mhm.
I actually have a picture I want to send to you real quick. That this is what I imagine she looks like.
Okay, great. Yeah. Where should I look? Should I look in the chat or... Okay, Facebook. Cool. Let me see here.
Well, I guess I could put it in the chat too. It doesn't look like it works for the chat.
Actually, I think I might know what picture you're sending me. Let me see here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is, yeah, I don't know what movie this is from, but,
I don't know either, but it is, it's, what's her face?
Dornan. What's her last name?
It's Natalie Dormer. It's Natalie
Emily
Dormer.
Dormer. That's right. Yeah, yeah. I'm way on board for that. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's what she looks like.
I love it. Okay. So Emily Dormer and I are having a duel. She's nicked my ear. I've cut her midriff. I've cut her so that her midriff is exposed. All right. I think it's time for the last deal here, right?
All right, last one. Yeah.
I I want to use a quirk to increase the difficulty by 1,
Ooh.
which takes it up to 7, which means I will probably lose here.
Okay.
But my quirk is that I am enthusiastically hyper-masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am going to say, in the midst of this duel, I look so forward to that kiss on the cheek, and perhaps I can sneak a kiss from your hand that you would not give me earlier.
Oh yeah, her eyes burn, and she moves in, and Arnst is at the side going, "Oh no, that was not good."
We will see, Ernst. We will see, Ernst. Okay, so I have to roll a 7 to be able to get this.
Yeah.
And I cannot do that, but let's see if I can maybe get 2 6s or something like that, because I believe that gives me a little bit of an additional bonus here. Okay. I got a 6 and a 5, so I didn't succeed, but I'm going to use another one of my perks. I spend a karma, and it reduces the difficulty by 1.
Okay.
So I got the karma back. I reduced it down to a 6, which means that I do succeed this time. And the perk that I'm going to invoke is that I am a fine dancer.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah. And so I think what happens is that we are dueling back and forth, and she's really determined. But the whole time, I'm pushing the movements of the fight closer and closer to a dance. And I think that I have annoyed her, and I've made her mad But in the course of doing this, it turns out that we are pretty well matched as fight partners and as dance partners.
Yeah.
And so I think the finish here is that she comes in for a thrust, and I parry with a pirouette. And when I parry, she lunges, overcommits herself just a little bit. I've already dropped my buckler, and I just smack the flat of my blade down on the guard of her rapier, and it disarms her. I drop my falchion, catch her hand, and then pull her into a pirouette of her own and dip her as if we finish in an actual dance.
Oh, it's beautiful. So that happens. You hit her wrist. The blade, the rapier goes into the wood, like it like sticks into the wood. You do that. You pirouette. You dip her into that dance. And there's this slight smattering of applause from the animals. Like there's this light little clapping happening as the animals.
The hare thumps his foot on the ground.
Kind of thumps his foot. And Arnst is mortified. Just absolutely mortified of what you've done. And Ulna is there in your arms, and you're both like breathing heavily because you guys have gone full out for this last like 10 minutes. And you've dipped her. What do you do?
I think I've dipped her, and then oh man, the thing is,
Do it.
Gottram's more toxic than I am, and I have to remember that. So I think he wouldn't like lift her up and let her go, but while he's down here, he's like, "Well fought, my lady. I thought for certain that you would end up winning in the duel, but I am pleased to say you did not."
her face is scrunched up and angry, and she goes, "Well, you have won, so you may let me go now, please."
I suppose. But you still owe me that kiss on the cheek. So I lift her up and I kind of like spin her across the floor again, letting her go. And then I just lean in and I put my finger on my cheek.
She leans in and slaps you.
Ooh.
And as she does, she goes, "I said I'd give you a kiss. I never said win." And at that moment, there's a ding, dong, as the chimes begin to ring another 12.
Okay.
Into the new midnight. And she goes, "I never said when." And she turns around and leaves. And Ernst steps out like, "I am so sorry, Ulna. I am very sorry. I did not know that he was going to be." She's like, "No. It was a good fight." She walks past. And as she snaps her fingers, all the chairs move back in.
And as she kind of storms off, Gottram shouts after her, and he's like, "Well, it must wait for another between time, because the kiss cannot be work, you understand. I must know it is something you want."
She like storms off. And she's gone. Arnst turns to Gottram and goes, "Gottram, we just wanted the place to rest."
"And we will have it. We can do business now, but you told me she was quite a woman, and I had to find out for myself."
Oh, yes, she is quite a woman. Anyway, I will go and I will speak to her. I will try to get us a room so we may sleep until the morning. Well, you may, at least. I have work to do.
"Work to do," he says. Viklundstein, such a strange place. I shout that to the fox.
And I think that's the end of the scene.
Yeah, I love it.
Good end of scene. Let's pick it up. Where do you want to pick it up next? I would say the next morning, but do you have anything else you want to do?
The next morning makes a lot of sense to me, yeah.
Excellent. Then it is morning in... Oh, what is this city called? Is it Glashua? Is it Glashua?
Glashua?
Glashua. Yeah.
What if it was... oh, man. What is the German word for pumpkin?
Oh, let's look it up.
Let me check this out really quick.
We're at home. We're looking up the German word for pumpkin.
German pumpkin. Kurbis. Yeah.
Kurbis. This is the city of Kurbis.
Sounds good.
I gotta make I gotta make that note real quick.
Yeah, go right ahead. So I'll kind of set the scene then. We have awakened, and it was reasonable accommodations for the night. We got a room to ourselves instead of sleeping in a common room, and there were 2 beds. Actually, no, I'm not allowed to touch anything, so there's only 1 bed, and I had to sleep on the carpet.
Oh, that's right, because she only said you could hit the carpets.
But that's fine, because I know I got a kiss in the bank, and that's
Yeah,
I don't care. So I pass the night kind of fitfully sleeping on the floor, and when I come down the stairs in the morning, I'm sort of like stretching out my back. Oh, I must say, perhaps the beds are comfortable, but the floor is not. And I'm kind of purposefully making a big deal about how I abided by her rules or whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So as you come down the steps that morning, this room is already pretty full. There's seems to be about 20 people in this main room. People are drinking coffee. They're having pastries. It's a lot of like men in frock coats and waistcoats, and with like canes and flouncy hats.
I imagine the really tall canes too, that like if you were standing up, they might go all the way to your shoulder or whatever.
Swagger sticks, yeah.
Oh man, I just remembered. I saw The Favorite recently.
Oh yeah,
and that's all I can picture now is that whole aesthetic.
Oh man, I gotta watch that. Yeah,
it's good. It's surprisingly heavy, but it's good.
Okay, but there are men and there are women, and they're all like sitting and talking. And you see Arnst at a small table in a little alcove. He likes the alcoves. He always gets them, no matter where you guys go. And he's sitting in an alcove. He's got books open, and he's got a bunch of small. He's got a piece of wood out in front of him that has a bunch of. Actually, it's this. He has 3 slats of wood that each have a different part of a circle carved on it, and he's pushed them together. And he's got like rocks and like some other things around it. He's moving them around, and there's a soft blue glow happening with it. He's doing hand magic in the corner.
So I think then Gottram comes down and sits down next to Arnst, and he says, "Ah, have you worked your magic to make the sun rise this morning? Is that how it works now that you are a big, full-grown magic user?"
I am a big, full-grown magic user. I did one spell one time. It's even now I'm thinking about it, and it could not be as good as I thought it was. It was paltry as nothing.
Not with that attitude, I suppose. So I grab a pastry from a plate that's on the table. It might not even be my plate, and I sit down and I kind of hold out a teacup for some coffee.
Well, I was trying to find if there was any reason why we are here. It feels like the author brought us here for some reason. I cannot tell why.
Neither can I, but this is your land. You are more familiar with details of this place than I am. How long has it been since you've been here in Viklundstein, Arnst?
I was a young man when I left Viklundstein. I was in my early 20s.
You are not that old now.
I feel old. That's what happens when you do not sleep.
And when you spend all of your time with your nose in a book.
Well, because the world is in books, my friend. Sure, the world is here as well. There are people about doing things, but the world, everything there is to know is in books. That's why I like them so much. They are honest. Well, at least they can be honest, and they don't ridicule or talk back. Usually.
Wow, pointed. Okay, so Gottram says, well, I suppose people can be rather feisty, like Olna last night. Can you believe it? A slap for beating her in a fight?
I believe it was not a slap for beating her. I think it was the slap for dipping her and putting her off her kilter, my friend. She was very vulnerable in that moment.
If you had felt the rhythm of that fight, you would know it could not have ended any way else. I think my heart has been stolen, Arnst.
Oh, it is love. It is You know, I have a spell to see if it really is.
Oh, I know it is not. I do not love. Love is for weaker men, of course, but
Oh, I thought you only had the one curse.
this is not a curse. This is a blessing. If I were to settle down, can you imagine? It is not a teller's life, but it is not Gottram's life either.
Settling down. Anyway, what I'm doing here, my friend? I've been up most of the night, trying to see if there is any large magic thing, a curse or such about, but it is Viklundstein. There is magic everywhere. I'm getting my signals crossed here, and he waves his hand over the wooden slats with the stones and the runes carved into it. And you see that it's the same kind of circle he did in Goldfield, like divining a large magical source, but the carving in the wood is continues to go, like something is carving in the wood, but it can't be seen. But it's just doing this perpetual circle. It's just, he's like, it is everywhere, and yet it is nowhere. So I am not sure what I'm supposed to be doing here, what we're supposed to be doing, but I do know we should be here. There's a couple of options I think we have. We can either ask about, like we usually do, but the city is very big. We can go to the teller office and see if anyone knows anything, or we can go straight to the top and speak with the royal family.
Well, I have always been of the impression that practice makes perfect. Perhaps you should try harder with your divination here to see what you can find.
All right, I will try again. Maybe a different spell, maybe something. Maybe we are not looking for the largest magic in the round. That works for small places like Goldfield, but maybe it is something else.
We know the magic is within you. Just summon it like you did last time.
You want me to do real magic? You want not divination hand magic? You want me to actually divine something? You want me to?
Why not?
You want me? I'm going to make sure you are absolutely certain about this. And he takes a drink of coffee. That he's got like 5 or 6 cups around him. He like takes one and drinks, puts it down. And he goes, "You want me to reach into the Ethereum and latch on to the will of the author and bring it to us so we know what to do."
Do you think it is beyond your capabilities, Arnst?
Of course it is beyond my capabilities, but I will try. Nothing is harmed with trying, but it is beyond me. We can ask anybody. I'm sure they'd be happy. But look, do you want me to try?
Yes, I do. Please, show me.
I will try.
So, I think this is a roll for sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think reaching into this real magic is definitely a difficulty 6 situation.
Absolutely. And I honestly think it's not a 3 for him. It's not a 3 dice.
Oh, really? You don't think it is?
I don't think it is. I think because he's an amateur wizard. I think this is, and I also don't think he believes that he can.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. It's definitely part of being crafty, right? It's a matter of willpower. It's a matter of mental, magical situation.
That is very true.
But I could definitely see a quirk being a limiting factor here in the sense that it's making you doubt yourself or something like that.
Yes. Let's say that then.
Like, for example, books are better than people is one of your quirks. And your divination tools that you're using here aren't necessarily a book, but the idea that like an object is more capable than you are on your own, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Also, I could also use in case I'm wrong and I'm never wrong. And this is where he's like, he knows he might be wrong at it. It eats at him.
Yeah. You're incapable of it and you're never wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Cool. So then it would raise the difficulty up to a 6, which means if you want to succeed, you would have to invoke a perk and spend a karma to do it as well.
Okay. Then let us roll. I'll roll 3 dice and see what happens.
All right.
I got 2 6s.
Ooh, look at the doubter.
Okay.
Let's see here. So I'm actually looking at the rules again. If they succeed with more than one die, it's an exceptional success, and the player may narrate an additional benefit.
Okay.
So the difficulty was 7. You rolled 2 6s, and I think an exceptional success would be succeeding in spite of the fact of not getting to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Okay. So Arnst is sitting at this table. All of his paraphernalia is out. He's got his books out. He's got, cups. He's been using bits of coffee to like work on like spells and stuff like that. He's been using hand magic to make everything that he's done over the course of the evening. So what he does, he slowly closes the books and he puts the cups away and he gives them to like a server as they go by. He cleans up the boards and he puts them in his coat pocket. He cleans up the stones and he cleans up the runes and the bones and everything and the bottles and the vials, and he puts it all away, and he's just left with an open table. And he sits and he thinks and he goes, all right, we are going to do real magic now. Real magic. Closes his eyes and he concentrates. And as he concentrates, he begins to mutter things under his breath. And he begins to move things. Even though it's not doing anything, his fingers begin to move and twitch. Like he's touching different symbols on his hands. But they're not. Usually when you see him do that, they light up and like he's doing things with it. But none of that is happening. He's just doing it. He's mostly just fidgeting. And he's sitting there mumbling to himself. And as he's mumbling to himself, there is a faint glow that comes around, like off of his, it's like a silver vapor mist that kind of begins to come off of him, like off of his hair and his clothes, like it's smoke, but it's silvery. And it's coming off of him and it's coalescing into this ball above him. And he's doing all this and he opens his eyes and his eyes are blue as hand magic. Let's say that they're like orange, like he has orange eyes. And he breathes out a question, and the question breathes out of his lungs and mixes with this vapor smoke into this ball. And the question is, why are we here? And the vapor moves and shimmers and becomes a mirror. And in it we see, since this is Melusina, the Legend of Melusina, this is one that I think you chose. Wasn't it?
I think it was actually you.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Interesting. So we see someone in the mirror. We see a royal someone, not the queen. We don't see Renat the Fifth, but we do see someone royal. What indicates them as royal, do you think?
I think it is their bearing more than their clothing or their ornamentation. There's something about the, not exactly the aura of a person, but there's something about the way a person appears that just radiates authority.
Interesting.
And I think that bearing is unmistakable. In the same way that Ulna didn't have to carry a weapon to look like a warrior, this woman would look like royalty even in like a burlap sack.
Interesting. So yes, this person is regal in bearing. um, and they are a uh, at a mirror themselves. So we're looking into their mirror, so we can see their face, and their eyes are puffy, and they look terribly sad. Um, and as they look in the mirror, they're brushing their hair, and as they brush their hair, they kind of cheer up a little bit, and they look in the mirror and they smile, and then they break down and cry and like put their head down. And we see the door open behind them, and we can't hear anything. There's no words, there's no sound coming through. But we see someone open the door, and the person and the royal woman looks up, turns around and looks at them, and she like points to her legs, and then points to them, and they rush in, and we see it's a man, like a it's not a servant, it's the king. I'm not the king. It's the Prince Regent. It's the prince. Oh, it's not even the Prince Regent. Let's call it. It's Prince Lorenz. Lorenz is like in his early 20s, and he rushes into her and lifts her up. And as he lifts her up, we see that the lower part that's coming out of her dress is a snake body.
Oh, okay.
And it's not legs; it's this snake body. And we even see at the edges of like her neck are scales that she's covered over with makeup. And then the mirror goes dark, and the mist dissipates, and Gottram's eyes go back to their normal color, and he goes, "That was incredible.
Quite impressive for an amateur wizard."
Yes, it was. Excuse me. And he stands up and he leaves. And he heads out. And I think the camera follows him, and it follows him up to the room they went to, and he goes to a mirror and like a basin of water, and he like pours water and like splashes his face. And we look up, and we look at him looking at the mirror, and he goes, "It was a fluke. It's just the one time." And I think that's an end of the scene.
Okay, cool. Actually,
oh, do you want more?
I have a suggestion. So he says it's a fluke, and then there's a knock at the door.
And we look over. The camera looks over, and he's like, "Please enter."
And the door opens, and Ulna walks in.
Ulna.
And she says, "I saw what happened in my breakfast chamber."
"I'm very sorry. I know that you have. I did not mean to do.
Sorry. I remember when we saw each other last that you were not a wizard. You left Viklundstein because you had no magical power. Where did you find it out on the wide world?"
I don't know. It is a fluke. Something happened. I don't know. I am a teller of tales. Things happen. It could be anything. And he like begins pulling stuff out. And he's like, this is the first laugh of a young prince. Brings happiness to someone. That magic comes off of this. It could have been a bit of that. This is a vial of tears from a new widow. It is supposed to cure some sadness in you. It siphons sadness. It could have been from that. There's many things I carry in these pockets, Ulna, that could have been magic. And they maybe siphoned the magic from me. And I'm merely a conduit. I'm babbling, aren't I?
You are babbling, yes. But it's cute. It's good to question yourself. Humility can be a good thing.
Thank you. You are Always a good friend. I'm sorry for. I'm sorry about last night and about Gottram. It's,
Ah. He is an impossible man, but fair is fair, I suppose.
yes, I've been with him about 11 months. He is impossible.
Ah, it's almost time for you to consider if you will stay by his side or if you will do something else, yes?
Yes, it's almost time.
Well, I wish you luck there. It would be an easy decision for me.
Yes, I can imagine.
I just can't imagine how you will live without him, of course.
One can only hope. Anyway,
I couldn't help but see the Prince Lorenz in your mirror.
yes, I saw him. You saw him as well. I am sorry. I did not mean to make such magics in your parlor.
Ah, it is no trouble. I did not recognize the woman, though.
Neither did I, but then again, I have not been in Viklundstein for 10 years. Did you not recognize her?
No, I do not know many of the royalty. I could tell you their names and their titles, but I have not seen very many of them.
This is fine. I've met many a prince or princess in my travels as a teller, but
How impressive of you.
no, I do not mean. I'm not dropping names or tales unless you want to tale. That is what I'm here for.
No, not dropping anything, just merely hinting.
Yes. Anyway, no, I did not know the woman in the mirror, but she seemed royal, and if she is with Prince Lorenz, then she must be at the palace, which means I should go to the palace and see if she's in trouble.
Yes, I suppose. What? How did you conjure that magic? What question did you ask to have the vision presented to you?
I honestly, I did not think it would work, so I did not think very hard about the question, which is the first rule of asking questions in this world: is you must think about the question. But I did not think it would work. But I'm sorry, I'm rambling again. I merely said, why are we here?
Yes, then I think you had better go find out who this woman is and why you are here, Arnst.
Well, do you mind if we keep the room for tonight as well?
Yes, of course, no problem. Although that friend of yours still has to sleep on the floor.
It is a rule. You made him promise, and a promise is a promise. I will make sure that he does not. And besides, the magic won't let him not.
Yes, I suppose. All for the better. I would not want to be too lenient with such a scoundrel.
Oh, of course not. You must keep up your appearances. Una, the duelist.
Yes. I must say I am not pleased about tarnishing my reputation like that, but I
won't tell anyone. It was merely a friendly bout. And
I'm not worried about you not telling anyone.
Well, I know a few hand magic spells. I can make him. He will never speak about it again.
He is supposed to earn his kiss, so perhaps let him see how far he can go without telling us souls about this boastful victory of his.
Are you going to place before him a challenge?
I may. I suppose I owe him what I owe him, but we will see if he is worthy of it truly, or if I give it begrudgingly.
Well, if it is to be a challenge, let me know. I know the incantations. I can help it along. Anyway, I've spoke too much. I should go, and you look very nice today. Everything. I will. Cheers.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a good spot to end the scene. Cool. So my thinking is that we cut to being at the palace and trying to get inside.
I think that's a good place too. I guess we're gonna. I would assume we leave the animals in our room.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of conversation about, well, you can't come to the palace with us. We're tellers. We have to do our work ourselves, etc., etc.
I imagine there's this moment where we're walking up the steps of the palace. Like you can see the courtyard over the stairs, and our heads slowly raise as we're walking up. And like Arnst leans over to Gottram and is like, do you think they would be all right since we left them in the room? And there's a quick cut to them like in the room. Like Badger and Fox is chasing Hare around the room, and Badger's just eating jam. And it cuts back. And do you think they'll be all right?
If they leave, then they're out of our hair, and we don't need to worry about it anymore.
It's true. As we walk up the steps, I think a guard stops us. He is wearing like a military coat.
Yeah.
What colors? What colors should they be? Gold.
Yeah.
They're gold and black. And it's a military coat, and he's wearing. It's got like the different like slashes on it, like all the slashes. He's got a sword at his side. He has like a partisan. And they got those like tall hats, like tall military Napoleon-esque hats.
Yeah.
And steps forward and state your business.
We are here to seek an audience with the Prince Lorenz. Is his name? Yes, Arnst?
Yes, Prince Lorenz is who we are here to see. We are tellers of tales. We are here to speak with him. Does the prince know you are coming?
The prince ought to know, but it is never... Whenever a tale must be told, the tellers cannot be stopped, as you know.
I do. I will announce you. Please, follow my colleague in. You may wait in the courtyard.
Very well.
And we head up the steps, and another guard takes us into a small garden. I imagine that we are at the palace, but this is a small palace off of that palace. That is Lorenz's palace.
Yeah.
On
the estate, but it's not like
on the estate. We're at his chateau, basically.
Yeah.
There's a lot of towers to it. Like the main palace complex is a lot of towers, and a lot of clock towers, and it's a lot of spires and wings of different buildings and stuff like that. And this is kind of Lorenz's area, and so we're in this small garden. As we sit there and wait, and since I described us getting in here, describe the garden.
Yeah, so the garden is samplings from plants that are all through the patchwork. So there's a little spot that's not like wheat grass, but there are plains grasses from goldfields, and these are 6 feet tall. And they're actually made from gold. It's a very rare kind of grass that you find out there. And then it's a very symmetrical kind of garden with a lot of well-curated beds. And so there's actually matching beds of this really tall grass. There's also some multicolored trees from tall timbers. These are not monochrome. There are 5 or 6 of these trees, and each one of them has all the colors of the rainbow in the leaves and on the bark and all that, sort of marbled all over the place. There are big fountains that are spraying water high into the air. There are some fruit trees. There are even some rock sculptures that are basically just boulders that have been warped by time and wind and water and magic and that sort of thing. So sort of abstract. And then a very well manicured lawn is stretched out between all of these beds. And we're walking across this garden area toward the prince's chateau when the prince comes out to greet us.
Okay. I'm gonna draw a card for what kind of person the prince is.
Sounds good.
Oh, I drew the hermit.
The hermit. Okay.
Seeks solitude to focus intently on inner life. Serves personal creativity. Oh, that makes sense why he's got his own little palace off to his side. Lorenz is in his 20s. He's a striking young man. Dark-haired. Kind of. He's actually he's square built. Like he's well muscled. He's every inch that fairy tale prince. As he comes in, he's wearing a beautiful waistcoat of gold and a coat of black. He's got everything is very modest about him. He's not wearing a lot of finery. It's not a lot of like gold filigree or gold scroll work on his coat or on his cuffs. Like even his shoes are a little scuffed. And he comes in and he looks at us and he opens his mouth and goes, "Hello, my friends. You say you are tellers of tales."
Yeah, you know what? I think Arnst is probably the best person to talk to him right now. So I'll take over playing Prince Lorenz because Gottram is a fast talker, but this isn't his land, so he doesn't know like the customs or anything.
Give us the intro from Lorenz then.
Yeah, okay. So Lorenz comes up and he's like, hello. I hear you have come seeking an audience with Prince Lorenz, the royal personage.
That we are, your liege. And Arnst gives a bow. The bow of Viklundstein. The bow of Viklundstein is it is touched to both sides of the head, to the center, and then down. If you have a hat, you take it off and then touch. So it's those three, and then as you go down, you touch heart, navel, hand. Those are the centers of magic.
Cool.
And so that is why they do that.
Cool.
Arnst doesn't usually wear a hat, so he touches heart, navel, hands, and offers his hand. To which Lorenz walks over and touches the hand and Arnst stands.
You may rise.
Thank you, your liege. My liege. You are your own liege. I am me.
Yes. You have interrupted my business. Tell me why you are here.
Terribly sorry.
So that I may return to my business.
Of course, my liege. I am Arnst, and this is my friend Gottram. We are tellers of tales, sir. We have come a long way. Apparently, it is the will of the author himself. Themselves. I'm so sorry.
A bold claim.
Yes, sir, and I would not make it if it was not absolutely true. We have come here by the author's bequest because something is wrong in Viklundstein. There is a tale to be told, and we have been directed to you.
To me?
Yes, my liege.
The author has driven you to me because of a tale that must be told.
That is my understanding, yes. I performed a spell of divination in nature in which I saw you and a young woman. She was in a mirror. She was sad. He looks around a little bit and goes, her body was that of a snake.
Silence.
Yes, my liege. I shall not say another.
The Prince Lorenz looks around the courtyard and he says, "You must come into my chateau."
Yes, my liege. Gottram, please.
Yes, of course, I will go wherever you want. My liege.
Gottram, this is This is Lorenz. You please.
Sorry. My where are my manners? Back in Sky's border, I suppose. And Lorenz looks down at Gottram, and he says, "Ugh, the manners of you wild and ungoverned folk are disappointing. But I suppose they are the manners of your folk. Please come inside already. We need to get out of the way of prying ears."
Yes, of course. Please, lead the way.
So Prince Lorenz brings the two of them inside and closes the door, and it becomes apparent that Lorenz is totally alone in this manor. There aren't even servants here.
Oh, interesting.
To keep an eye on him or serve him or anything. And so he leads us through this grand central entry hall and up a flight of stairs and down a corridor into an entirely different wing of the palace. And the whole time we don't see anybody. He opens a door, takes us into a little sort of study room, and closes the door, locks it, and then how do you know about the Lady Melusina?
Oh, as I said, my liege, I performed a divination spell where I asked the author where we were to go, and he showed me in the mirror. Are we in the same room as that early morning?
Yeah.
He goes, I'm in actually that mirror there, and he points over to it. She was sitting there brushing her hair. She became sad, and you came in, and she said something to you. Rushed to her. You picked her up, and she had the legs of, well, no legs. She had the body of a snake. So sorry. And I could see some scaling as well. I figured this is the reason why we have come. You wish us to... She is cursed in some way?
Cursed, yes. And forever gone.
Gone? Yes. This morning she's gone?
It is a painful tale for me to tell, but I will tell it to you now. I was out in the forest, riding with my entourage, when I separated myself to ride for a while along my own. And I saw out there a rare beauty bathing in a pool under the moonlight.
It's bathing, you say?
Yes, and as is chaste, I averted my eyes until she was done bathing, but I knew that I had to speak to her. And when I spoke to her, I found that her outer beauty was a pale match for her inner beauty. Her amiable manners and quiet way captivated me. I knew that I must have her. And so we were married on one condition. She told me that I could never call upon her on a Saturday. I could not even desire to see her on a Saturday, she said. And this... Do you have questions?
No. I am merely surprised at the specificity of it. It is not in my understanding that such specificity... To continue.
Yes, well, we had children together, but destiny conspired against us because it turns out she was not wholly human. She was fey. And I should have known, finding her in the forest like that. I should have known the bargain that she struck with me to be married.
Prince Renz, I have a question, if you do not mind.
Yes.
Do your parents know that you are married and have children?
They do, and they disapproved, but they knew not the truth of the situation. They only knew that when the children were born, they were born deformed, with one, Geoffroy, one of my sons, born with a boar's tusk in place of a tooth.
And this is kept from all the people of Viklundstein.
Yes, another, Frymont, born with a body already covered in burn scars. These were the penalties of marrying one of the Fae, and I still could not keep in check my desire for my wife, to see her, to hold her, to kiss her. And so one Saturday I ran in to her chambers, these chambers here, which I have converted into this study. And I saw in her mirror her face shocked and dismayed that I had broken my vow, and I saw beneath her skirts the long tail of a snake. And from that day, destiny descended upon her most fearfully. It had so long lain in ambush to work its evil against her. And she fainted. And when she revived, she was full of the profoundest grief, and she declared to me that she must depart from me forever. And in obedience to a decree she made with destiny, fleet about the whole patchwork world in pain and suffering as a spectre until the day of doom. And only when one of her race was to die here at Lusignan, in her presence, would she become visible again. And I will never forget the last words she said to me. But one thing I will say unto thee before I part, that thou, and those who for more than 100 years shall succeed thee, shall know that whenever I am seen to hover over the fair castle of Lusignan, then will it be certain that in that very year the castle will get a new lord. And though people may not perceive me in the air, yet they will see me by the fountain of thirst. And thus shall it be so long as the castle stand in honor and flourishing.
That is a sad story, my liege.
Yes. And would you believe? A servant, not a score of nights ago, saw Melusina hovering over this fair chateau of Lusignan. It is decreed that my queen, my mother, will die, and that I will take the throne because of this awful curse.
Well, what would you have us do? We are tellers. We are here to tell a tale. And if this is a tale, we are to tell it.
My wife, Melusina, beautiful and pure, has been wandering the world invisible and suffering in pain for 4 years now. And as she told me, her time will only come to an end when one of her race is to die at Lusignan.
All right then. So I am assuming, my lord, that you wish to see your wife again, to break this curse upon her.
I do. I wish to see her once more, floating, as she said, above the Fountain of Thirst Tavern.
All right.
An odd place.
Yes, very much so. So, you wish to see her again, which would require the death of a fae here at your chateau. And is there anything you wish us to do about the death of the queen?
Destiny itself has conspired against her. The author has written her death according to the fate of my wife. I do not know how to change it.
All right.
It is beyond my knowledge.
Very well. Very well. Well, We will do our best.
I trust that you shall.
Now, I will say, my liege, that this is a tall order to do. Fae are not easy to capture, nor are they easy to lure into a specific place, nor are they easy to kill. So, I will have to ask the price that is more.
Without any hesitation at all, Prince Lorenz says, "It shall be paid. Anything.
Are you sure?
Up to and including my very life."
Very well. Very well. I can see that you care deeply for this woman, this Fae woman. And such adoration and such feeling should never be discarded. Neither should it be ridiculed, neither should it be, what is the word, diminished or made light of.
It cannot be diminished. I am fated to succeed my mother on the throne of Viklundstein, but my love for Melusina is greater than Viklundstein. Yea, greater than all of the patches of this world.
All right. Then we will do the best we can, and we will come back for our price.
Save her, and I will give you the price that is more. Save her and the queen, my mother. I will give you everything that I have.
Well, luckily I am no seventh son of a seventh son. I do not seek riches, nor do I seek prestige or power. Luckily I am merely a teller, and we merely seek the tale. And we seek the price that is owed us. Very well, Prince Lorenz. We will do the best we can. And we will let you know. And, well, we should know by which midnight we should do this. If you'll permit me, do you mind if I pull a hair from your head, sir?
Lorenz just plucks it from his own, and he gives it
Stop.
to you.
Stop, don't give it to me. I want you to look at it and see if it is how many hairs you have pulled.
There are 2 hairs.
Then we have 2 midnights.
2 midnights. To draw out a Fae and to kill it here at Lusignan?
Yes. And to figure out the plot against your mother. If it is merely a natural plot, as in death will come for her, or if someone else seeks her life. We will do the best we can.
And I will help you do it.
It is
Here.
most gracious of you.
Here, take this. And he gives you it looks like a maple seed, the winged seed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's paired, so it's 2 maple seeds. And oh shoot, I've forgotten the name. Hold on. There are trees that you can teleport through. Ooh, traveler wood.
Yeah, through a traveler wood, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. These are seeds from a traveler tree.
Oh, cool.
And if you grind one up against the bark of a traveler tree, then it will take you exactly where you want to go.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
So travel is not a problem for us to get there and back, which is the only way that we're going to be able to do this in time.
Excellent.
And he says, "This is the only traveler seeds that I have in my possession. You have one chance to make this right, or else my love is doomed to wander the world forever, and I am doomed to rule without her at my side."
All right. We will do the best we can. Gottram!
Yes, quite a stirring tale, I would say.
Are you ready, my friend?
I am, of course. There is nothing that will stop us from completing this tale, and I must say, Prince Lorenz, all due respect, of course, My companion here, Arnst, is not the seventh son of his seventh son, but even as a teller myself, I am willing to at least hold some riches for a while. Prince Lorenz looks with disdain at Gottram, and he says, "If you are, then you are making a mockery of your profession, and I doubt that you will be able to save me." And this actually is not often that somebody really cuts Gottram to the quick.
Oh, nice.
But this is a moment where that happens. And so Gottram's quiet until we leave.
We are most graciously in your debt, my lord. We shall do the best we can, and we shall return to you. We shall be back, obviously, before the 2 midnights, before we need to kill this Fae here in your house.
I suggest you get to it. You are running out of time.
Yes, yes. Come along, Gottram. And,
yes, of course. Yes, let us go. Gottram hurries out of this room, and he doesn't even wait for Prince Lorenz to escort us out. He wants to get to the door as quickly as possible.
Okay. Arnst goes to the door. He turns. He gives the Viklundstein bow, and he closes the doors behind him. Turns around and goes, Gottram. And Gottram's at the end of the hall at this point. And he's like, "Wait up! And he runs after him. And I think that's the end of the scene.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Cool. I would like to do a short scene, real quick.
Sure.
I would like to introduce something, a world thing.
Mm-hmm.
With this scene very quickly. The scene is we are back at the Fountain of Thirst. And we are people are milling about back and forth. We've come back to let the animals know what we're doing, and to basically gear ourselves up to like head into the woods to find a fae. So we're doing that, and we're I think it's a scene inside of our room where we're like prepping. Arnst's box satchel is open, and he's like switching out things, putting them in his pockets and switching them back and forth. We see we can hear the shh as Gottram is sharpening his falchion. The camera pans over, and there's the fox like hog-tied in the corner, with the badger like sitting on top of him eating jam.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Hare, like basically Mr. Hare's got he's got his arm in a sling at this point. And they're just like sitting quietly. And Badger and Hare are like playing checkers between the two of them. And as they're doing that, Arnst is doing all these things. He goes, I'm worried about this, Gottram. I'm worried about this tale. Yeah.
I'm not concerned. What are your concerns? What is there to be worried about?
Well, there's much to be worried about. Fae, and we need to kill it. Killing a Fae is about as easy as killing a dragon.
Yeah.
But we have much to do and much to prepare, and not a lot of time to do it. But the thing that bothers me the most about this is that this is large. This is not a baker taking over a town. This is not a strange fiddler in the woods. This is not a couple of children lost, trying to be eaten by a witch. This is a kingdom, and this is the succession of an entire kingdom.
What if it is a strange fae playing in the woods?
It could be. It could be. What I'm saying is, this is larger than what I have done in a very long time. And the last time I did something this large, I was not the only one dealing with it.
Well, you are not the only one dealing with it now either. I am here.
Oh, I know. What I'm saying is there were other parties that wished other outcomes. I wish to do a spell very quickly. I wish to see if any ink marked are on this.
It would teach us important information. Yes, do it. Yes.
All right. I'm just gonna roll 3 real quick to do this spell.
Okay, so I think this is going to be a challenge rating 5. Pretty typical.
Okay. Woo, woof. That is 2 6s and a 5.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you have an exceptional success. Yeah. What? Let me see here. Do I define what that exceptional aspect is, or do you? I think you.
I think I do.
Yeah, you do.
So what it is, this is another hand magic thing. So what he does is he goes to a water basin. He pours water in the basin, and it's another divination thing. So he's doing hand magic. He's touching symbols. He's drawing runes around the bowl of water. And as he goes around it, he takes a thing of ink and swishes it a little bit, and he mixes the ink with his own spit and sap from a tree. He's like, this is sap from a traveler's wood, and from a traveler tree in the traveler's wood, and he pours it in and he mixes it all together, and he takes a dropper and he drops 1 drop into the water. So usually what happens is if there are any ink marked that are working on this particular tale as well as us, it will show up as drops of ink.
Okay.
I'm gonna have you roll for it. Do you have a D4 close to you?
Yeah. Hold on just a second.
Will you roll a D4 and see how many ink marked are after us, or after this particular tale?
It's just 1.
Just one. Okay. So the drop hits, and we can, as the camera is on the surface of the water, we see the black. We see it go under the water with that black, and it begins to move outwards. And we wait, and the ink resurfaces, and there's no other drops. And Arnst goes, "It is just the one. That is good news. There is only one." And we see as the ink morphs into a picture of a person. So,
actually, can I make a suggestion?
Please do.
Instead of shifting into a picture of a person, the one ink dot that shows up on the page morphs like Rorschach style, and it expands, and when it coalesces into a quarter note.
Oh, interesting. So, just out of game, are we saying is it Mr. Strings?
I think so. And I don't think Mr. Strings is ink marked. I think that an ink marked is working for Mr. Strings.
Okay.
To try and make this happen.
Perfect. So ink marked, that's a new thing that we're talking about this time. My concept of ink marked is that these are the people for which stories happen. So like these are Hans from our first game would have been considered an ink marked. But it goes a little bit further than that. So an ink marked is not just a person in a story, but it would be if Hans, having his story done, having his power still intact, began to do what tellers do, but for his own purposes.
Okay.
And he uses his powers that a story has given him for his own gains.
Interesting. Okay.
So like it would be if Puss in Boots, after his story, continued to go on adventures. He would eventually become what is called an ink marked.
Okay.
It's like a D&D adventurer, I guess.
Yeah.
They are people that go beyond their own story.
I have thoughts about this.
That are I think they're like mercenaries. They're like, they can be anything. They can be, it can be anything. It can be Hansel and Gretel who have grown up and they're now, witch killers. Like it can, and like the ink marked are are devices that the author will use to make a story more interesting.
Yeah. I
And more-
think I've got some authorial ideas here too. So I think you've done this to identify if an ink mark does it work, right?
Yeah, that's all I did.
And I'm starting to think that this is something that we can't resolve in this session.
Oh no.
I think that this is our first like multi-session arc, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it would make a lot of sense to me. Okay, let me get back into the scene. So you've just done this.
It is an ink marked, but it is the only. If I'm reading this right, I do not think. Usually, what would happen here is I would see a symbol or something about the ink mark themselves, but do you see? I think there's an ink mark working for Mr. Strings.
Yes, I think so. On the bright side, we have a target now. We know what creature to lure to us, Mr. Strings.
Yes.
And at this point, Hare and Badger both fall quiet and they look over at us, and they're not actually, like, one of them has their checker piece just like suspended in midair, and they're deathly still.
I had hoped that it would be many years before we crossed paths with Mr. Strings again, but
Me as well, but
no time like the present.
a loose end is a loose end, and if we must draw him here, perhaps we can use our seeds to get these creatures back to their homes in the same fell swoop.
It is possible. It is possible.
But I don't want to go in there without knowing what this ink marked is. What person is. Perhaps it is one of the Shadow Fae?
It is possible. I think so. It might be that he is, but it is an ink mark. They would have to be known. Do we know any of the shadow elves that are beyond their own tales?
Beyond their own tales, I do not. We have to find out. You are brainy. You can do this. You can research. You can find some bit of magic that will reveal to us the target that is pursuing us.
I can. I can try. At the very least, my friend, if there is an ink marked in Viklundstein, people will know about it.
Yes. Well, perhaps you are right. But this is Kurbis. This is the capital of Viklundstein. There is a teller's office here. We can go find information from them. Or perhaps there is some powerful mage who can work some sort of spell for us and point us toward this target.
That is true. But the price for magic in Viklundstein is very high.
Well, everything can be bargained when you have a silver tongue like I do.
That's true. That is true. Now, here's an interesting thing. We can either I agree with you. We can either like get a mage to like find this ink marked, and I think if we find the ink mark, that'll be a great end for the game, for this session. Or I'm super interested in what a teller's office looks like.
Yeah, me too. That's the thing. I think, and I don't know that they're mutually exclusive. We've sort of established that because you are not capable of great magic, you became a teller.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that excludes powerful wizards from being
Absolutely
tellers.
not. Like we can go to the teller's office and find a magician.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's worth it. I think it's safe to say that a teller magician is probably not as powerful as like a mageocracy magician.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to the most powerful mage we can think of, but we're still finding somebody who's more powerful than we are.
And it's someone within our sphere of influence too,
Yeah.
so that's okay. All right. Well, we shall go to the office then and see if we may be able to find someone who can divine something for us. Shall we then, my friend?
We shall, but we must be careful, of course, because who knows how these backstabbing tellers might try to steal the tale from us. This is our tale. We are the ones who are telling it, and we are the ones who will tell it to its conclusion. We must not tip our hand.
You are right. Very well. We shall have to be discreet. then.
Yes.
We are
Think
just
so.
looking for ink marked. No other reason. That is
Yes.
an easy enough request to make of our fellows.
Yes. Surely they will not suspect anything.
All right. All right. Badger, Fox, Hare, we are going out.
Behave yourselves this time.
Please, do not make trouble for Ulna, all right?
You
And,
mustn't. I am owed a kiss, and if you act up, then she will not give it to me.
The door closes as we walk out. Cool. Let's just each describe something about the mage, the teller office.
Sure.
You want to do interior or exterior?
I want to do exterior.
Okay.
So this place, in keeping with the general tone of Viklundstein, it is it's got a narrow front facade, but it's a longer building than it is tall or than it is wide, and it's on the end of a row of buildings, and so it is let's say 10 stories tall. It's actually very tall for a building in any realm of the patchwork world. But in the context of the buildings around here, it's only like a few stories taller than the buildings around it. Most of the buildings in this part of the town are very tall. And actually, no, it's 7 stories tall.
Oh, nice.
Auspicious. And the top story is a vaulted ceiling situation that has a grand gathering hall. And we're not going to that grand gathering hall. We're looking at the outside right now, and we can see that it's all stone. There are a lot of arches and things like that that are home to recessed windows and statues. That the statues tell or depict certain tales that are famous from the patchwork world's history. And there are these gigantic doors that are on the face of this thing that swing open as we approach of their own accord, because they recognize the approach of tellers.
Cool. The doors open, and we step through. And the moment we step through, we come into a henge. And it is a henge in a forest somewhere. And there is a single teller standing in the middle of the henge. And there is obviously a portal behind him that leads to the actual office.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the security check.
Mm.
And we step in, and who is the teller?
Well, we need to draw an archetype card for that.
Oh, let's draw an archetype card. It is the teacher.
The teacher. Okay. So I'm curious, whose teacher is it? Yours or mine?
Oh, I don't think it's either of ours. I think all teller offices lead to this place.
Okay.
So like all the henges, all the openings in the henges lead to different offices.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so like this we stepped in, and so like this is the waiting room. Basically, this is the security check. The teacher is everyone's martial teacher.
Okay.
Everyone, if you become a teller, you step in here and you learn to fight from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Ooh, can I suggest that he's one of the walking, talking, clothed animals from Tooth Nail Acres?
Yes. Oh, yes, please. Oh,
Cool.
yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know what animal. I'll leave that to you. But
let's just. He is an amalgamation.
Ooh, okay.
He is like. He's got the horns of a moose.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the face of a bear.
Mm.
He's got the body of a. No, he doesn't have the face of a bear. He's got the face of a wolf. So the horns of a moose, the face of a wolf, the body of a bear, and the hooves of a of like these big stocky hooved legs. And and he's massive. He's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, his name is Chimera.
Chimera, yeah.
Or Chimeron.
Chimeron, yeah,
Yeah.
I like Chimeron. We gotta write that down. Gotta write down Chimeron.
Mm-hmm.
Chimeron. And he wears armor, but he's adept in magic. He's adept in all types of weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
There's a weapon that Chimeron does not know. And he stands in the center, and as we're looking at him, Arnst leans over to Gottram and goes, "When is the last time you actually went to the office?"
It has been quite some time. I have been a bit of a wanderer.
7 years it has been for me.
7?
7.
Well, at least you have that to benefit you. I think it has been not quite 7 for me.
Gottram of Parviglen and Arnst of Viklundstein.
Yes, Chimeron, hello.
You are welcome to the glade of many doors. Come closer.
Yes, of course. My teacher, yes. Ernst, come in step, yes.
Hello, Cameron. It is pleasure. Yes, it is a pleasure to see both of you. It has been a long time.
Yes, perhaps not as long as our training would belie. We are quite capable, thanks to your guidance, of course.
Of course you are. What may I do for you today?
We come in search of knowledge. We are looking for an ink marked.
Ah, an ink marked, you say? Well, I see you have come from Viklundstein, yes?
Yes, we are in Viklundstein trying to track down an ink marked who is involved in the area, but we are not sure that the ink marked is located there. We have reason to think that the ink marked is perhaps in the Tall Timbers patch.
Interesting. Very well. I will send you back to Viklundstein. There you will seek out the mage. What's a good name? Arif. You will find Arif. He or she, I cannot remember which. They will be able to see and point you in the direction of your ink marked.
Thank you. We will go in search at once.
Yes, Cameron, it's a pleasure to see you again. And have you gotten any better with that saber, Arnst of Viklundstein?
As if I could get better than perfect.
Yes, I'm sure you can't. Please, be on your way. And we actually move to the other side and walk through any one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we immediately are sent to actually the doorway that we stepped through.
Okay.
Like we opened the door, stepped into into that circle area where we are vetted by Chimeron, Chimeron, and then step back into the Viklundstein office.
Cool. I like that. And so normally I would want to play out a few more scenes right now, but
it's late.
More importantly than that, my parents just got some very good news, and they've been trying to call me, and I would like to wrap this up so that I can go call them back and congratulate them.
Absolutely, we'll be able to do that.
Okay, cool.
So, let us say that we cut ahead. We've met Epheron.
Actually, I'm fine doing a cliffhanger, and we pick up next time meeting Arif.
Arif, yes, let's meet Arif next time.
Cool. Yeah, because I think it'll be good to get that information from Arif and then pursue it and come to the end, or maybe not, who knows, but anyway, make some major progress right at the beginning in that way.
That's perfect. Perfect. And we'll pull all that together next
Sounds
time.
good.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun.
It was. I think we're starting to get comfortable with the system, and it's interesting how little we really need to engage with the rules, but they consistently produce interesting results.
Yes, which I think is the main thing for this.
Yeah.
I like it, and I'm digging this story. This is gonna be fun.
Likewise, yeah. I'm really excited to see where it goes. I have some ideas for it, but I'm really having fun just taking it beat by beat and figuring out what happens there. Like there are so many different paths I thought of us taking in this particular session, and I'm really pleased with where we ended up.
Me too. Then we will pick up next time. You say that is real quick, just so I know, the 29th. Is that okay?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
That'll work.
Then I will put you down for the 29th, and we will catch all of our listeners and our watchers next time on Teller of Tales.
That's right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Once again, this is Drew Mergieski. And I'm Eli Kurtz, and this has been a fun game. So tune in next time, folks.
All right. Take care, everybody.
See you later.